Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the ABC7 app, abc7.com, and all of our streaming platforms. We're coming to you live in this 9 o'clock hour to bring you an LAPD procession. This LAPD procession is for Sergeant Sho Dang, a 26-year veteran of LAPD, who died this morning in a traffic accident on the 405 freeway. About 2 a.m., this accident happened. Initial reports are that the officer was traveling southbound on the 405 freeway, and he came up on a accident that had already happened. He radioed that accident in and radioed in for CHP to respond to the scene. Shortly after that, CHP is telling us that a secondary accident occurred that involved a vehicle hitting Sergeant Dang. Sergeant Dang was transported to UCLA Medical Center, where he passed away this morning. And now this procession is underway, continuing southbound on Sepulveda Boulevard, leaving UCLA Medical Center. And this procession, it will be en route to the medical examiner's office just outside of downtown LA. So it's going to be quite a lengthy procession through West LA and then east. We're trying to get some further detail on if this procession will eventually get onto the freeway. I'm looking at lanes of the southbound 405 right now, and it appears that there's very little traffic there, but I'm not sure if that's because of the accident investigation that remains there on the southbound 405. Those lanes remain closed at this time as the investigation continues. We do know we have 2 people that passed away in that accident on the 405 earlier this morning. A couple others were also injured. It did appear that 4 vehicles total were involved. And once again, one of those injured included Sergeant Sho Dang from LAPD's West Traffic Division, a 26-plus year veteran of the force. We did hear from Chief Jim McDonald earlier this morning. He told us Sergeant Dang also served 17 years in the mental evaluation unit, which, as you can imagine, is quite challenging work. As the procession now continues southbound on Sepulveda Boulevard, passing, looks like we're coming up on Santa Monica Boulevard. That'll be the next big cross. And the way this works is the LAPD motorcycle officers will go ahead and shut down the intersections that this motorcade will have to slowly pass by for traffic control and just for smoothness of travel. There's about 60 vehicles total in this procession. What was that? Oh, some heat there. That's the medical examiner's van in the front of your screen, being led by a fleet of LAPD motorcycle officers. There's a lot of turnout from the West LA LAPD division, because that is the division that Sergeant Dang served in. The procession is going to make a right turn on Santa Monica, going westbound. I believe it will be entering the freeway at this time. Santa Monica and Sepulveda. Once again, I'm Gabe Santos in Air 7. We're interrupting all of our streaming channels here to bring you live coverage of this LAPD procession. This LAPD procession happening after a very serious accident on the 405 freeway that happened about 2 a.m. this morning, killing 2 individuals. One of those individuals, an LAPD sergeant. The 405 southbound remains closed near Getty Center, where that investigation remains or continues. It is now a CHP and LAPD investigation. Sergeant Dang was transported to UCLA Medical Center after the accident, and it was there that he succumbed to his injuries. We learned that from Chief McDonald in the 8 a.m. hour. And now we have the procession from UCLA Medical Center. We were initially told this procession was going to the medical examiner's office near downtown, but we're continuing westbound now on Santa Monica Boulevard. So we're waiting for some further guidance on exactly where this procession will end up. Hearing now that an LAPD police helicopter will also be joining this procession. We have a number of motorcycle units, a number of units from the West LA division where Sergeant Dang served. The procession's going to make a left turn now, coming south. That tracks with the understanding that this was, and this may still be headed towards downtown. Those vehicles behind the medical examiner's van are going to be family members of the sergeant. The police chief and we did have reports that the mayor may also be in this procession. But 60 vehicles in this procession. Once again, I still see a lot of those cars coming under the 405 on Santa Monica Boulevard. So you have about a half mile of police activity all in place for the transportation of this sergeant. You could see there we're passing what I believe is LAPD West LA Station, and that may be why the procession didn't come directly onto the freeway and go directly to the medical examiner's office, because they wanted to pass by West LA Station, where Sergeant Dang spent a lot of time in his career. Yeah, as a matter of fact, on Butler, that is exactly what they were doing. Butler in Iowa is where LAPD West LA Station is. You saw there those officers saluting the caravan as it went by, and there's the LAPD airship joining the procession as well, as it continues now west on Iowa Street, east, excuse me, on Iowa Street. That definitely makes sense, and we were not told that that was going to happen, but that definitely makes sense to have the procession do an honorary flyby, if you will, of LAPD's West LA Station. And now the procession heads east, presumably towards the medical examiner's office. If I go quiet here on our live stream coverage, I'm monitoring a few different radios just to make sure we have the latest updates on where this procession is going. We're also efforting full details and more details on the accident scene this morning. We're in touch with CHP because the southbound 405 is still closed. And as you can imagine, the southbound 405 through the Sepulveda Pass, a major thoroughfare for anyone commuting between the San Fernando Valley and the west side. And it's been closed since about 3 a.m. this morning. Making a right turn eastbound on Santa Monica Boulevard now. Presumably, we're going to get on the 405. I see a LAPD motorcycle officer in the intersection there on the off-ramp and on-ramp from Santa Monica Boulevard to the 405. You see that medical examiner's van making the right turn. And now we have confirmation that the procession will continue southbound on the 405. That accident happened about 2 a.m. this morning, and the 405 has been closed ever since. The northbound lanes were also closed for a time. Emergency crews actually landed a helicopter there at the scene to presumably transport one of the injured individuals. We don't know if that was this officer who eventually passed away or if it was somebody else. But those southbound lanes of the 405 are still closed right now because of this accident investigation that claimed 2 lives, including Sergeant Shodang, a 26-year plus veteran of LAPD. The CHP is telling us that the southbound 405 will remain closed until further notice, and this affects those of you in Sherman Oaks, Van Nuys, Northridge. The 405 is backed up into the, well into the valley to about Victory Boulevard. CHP getting involved here to block traffic on the southbound lanes of the 405 to let the motorcade have a smooth avenue of transport. Copy that. Copy that. Once again, you're watching live coverage here of an LAPD procession. I'm Gabe Santos at Air 7. We're holding a shot of this medical examiner's van. Inside the medical examiner's van is Sergeant Shodang, who passed away this morning in a very serious accident on the 405 South in the Sepulveda Pass. The procession now on the 405 South, approaching the 10 freeway. I see it, okay. Looking up ahead here as we hold the shot of the procession itself, I can see that the 10 freeway, CHP has a traffic break there. And they're doing that to allow a smooth avenue of transport for this procession to continue from the 405 South onto the 10 East. Presumably the procession will continue on the 10 East all the way towards downtown and the medical examiner's office just outside of downtown. We heard from Chief McDonald, LAPD Chief McDonald, and Mayor Bass this morning as they announced that 2 people died in this accident. One of them was this LAPD sergeant from the West LA division. I want to read a statement from Mayor Karen Bass. She says, quote, "This is a sad day for our city. The men and women of LAPD put their lives on the line for Angelenos each and every day. Sergeant Dang served LA for more than 25 years. This morning I met with officers at the hospital who described him as caring and selfless. His last act, was one of service, putting the safety and well-being of others above all else. Flags above city buildings will be lowered to half staff in his honor. My thoughts are with Sergeant Dang's family during this devastating time, end quote. And Mayor Bass referring to a last act of service there because the reports we have from CHP and the radio traffic at the time was that Sergeant Dang was traveling southbound on the 405 and came up on an accident. Unsure if he saw it happen or if he got to the scene right after it happened, before CHP even got there, and radioed in for additional help and for additional CHP units. And the reports after that are that the sergeant was then struck by an additional vehicle. He was injured, transported to UCLA Medical Center, and passed away there. So it appears that Sergeant Dang was trying to render help to the victims of the accident that had already happened, or that he just saw happen. And then he himself became a victim of an accident on the southbound 405. Lanes of the southbound 405 still closed at this hour in the Sepulveda Pass, affecting a lot of different valley communities who regularly use the 405 to get down to the west side. A side note here, I want to let everybody know watching on our streaming channel and all of our streaming locations here, wherever you watch ABC7 and our streaming channel. ABC News is monitoring a couple of international and national breaking news items, and they may break into this coverage if the news warrants. So if that happens, I just want to give everyone a heads up of that. We in Air 7 will continue to monitor this procession here on in the Palms area, now eastbound on the 10, and bring you the very latest at Eyewitness News at 11 a.m. But we will continue to follow this procession as long as we can. I'm looking ahead on the 10, and for a few miles now, there's no traffic. CHP offering their help right now to close on-ramps here and basically open up the eastbound lanes of the 10 freeway all the way to the downtown area to let this procession through. I'm sorry, desk, I'm getting a little bit of static there. One more time. Okay, copy that. We got about 30 minutes more in fuel. The procession now continuing under the National Boulevard and Overland Avenue bridges on the eastbound 10. You can see there the on-ramp shut down by CHP to let this procession pass. LAPD Chief McDonald and reportedly Mayor Bass also in this procession, along with the family of this fallen officer. Chief McDonald spoke earlier this morning. He told us a little bit more about Sergeant Dang. Once again, a 26 and a half year veteran of LAPD. Chief McDonald described Sergeant Dang as a true leader. He said, quote, "He died a hero. He was out there caring for others, putting their safety before his own," end quote. Now the CHP investigation is continuing on the 405 South. And CHP has given us no update on when when lanes of traffic will open on that 405 South. This, of course, affects anybody that lives in the West Valley, in the Van Nuys area, Sherman Oaks, Studio City, Northridge too, if you use the 405 to get to work. It's been closed since about 2 or 3 in the morning. So a lot of people have had to use alternate routes, and you're still having to use alternate routes. All of those canyon roads, Coldwater, Beverly Glen, even Topanga. Those of you coming from Woodland Hills, taking Topanga to PCH, that's another way to get to the west side right now. But Topanga has been backed up, presumably due to all the additional volume because the 405 South is shut down. Still to this hour. It's been going on about 6 or 7 hours now. I'm looking ahead on the 10 freeway, and CHP has pretty much all of the off-ramps shut down, the on and off ramps from the 10 to the 10 east, looks to about Crenshaw, and that will continue on a rolling basis all the way to about the downtown area. I can see the 10 east is now open from the 405, but CHP is holding traffic from passing this procession, which includes about 60 vehicles. I'm not sure if that includes the motorcycles, but this is one of the larger processions that I've seen. You see on a lot of the overpasses, LA City Fire standing at attention as well, honoring their fellow first responder. If I go quiet here on the stream, I'm monitoring a couple different radio channels here, just making sure we have the most up-to-date information. As we said in the original accident, we can confirm 2 people have died, one of which is this LAPD sergeant that we're following here in this procession. The other, a person in his 30s. We don't know the identity of that person. That person died at the scene. We do know that flags at city buildings will be lowered to half staff today in honor of this LAPD sergeant. The procession is now eastbound 10, approaching Robertson. We could follow a little closer if you can. Our photographer, Chad, is showing us this very wide shot now. You could see a slowdown in the westbound lanes of the 10. Presumably people slowing down a little bit to see this very large contingent of LAPD coming by, motorcycle officers, and a number of LAPD units, 60 cars involved in this LAPD procession. And lanes of the eastbound 10 freeway are closed, or at least being slowed, for this procession, and until this procession passes. CHP has all of the on and off ramps closed, and this will continue on a rolling basis until we get pretty much past the downtown area where the LA County Medical Examiner's office is located, and that's where this procession, will come to an end. If you're just joining us now in the 10 a.m. hour, I'm Gabe Santos in Air 7. We are following an LAPD pursuit in honor of LAPD Sergeant Sho Dang, a 26-and-a-half-year veteran of LAPD. Sergeant Dang died this morning in a very violent accident on the southbound 405 about 2 a.m. An accident had occurred in the HOV lane, and it's unclear if the LAPD sergeant saw it happen or arrived at the scene right after it happened, because it was before CHP had arrived at the scene. The sergeant stopped his vehicle in the HOV lanes and got out of his vehicle, turned on his lights on the vehicle, and got out to see if he could render aid to those involved in the accident. And the sergeant, along with his vehicle, was hit. The LAPD sergeant was transported to UCLA Medical Center, where he passed away this morning. We do know 2 people in total died in both accidents there on the 405 South this morning at about 2 a.m. The other, a person in his 30s. Now, as is normally the case when a LAPD sergeant, especially one as tenured as Sergeant Dang, when one of their own passes away, LAPD gathers and they form a procession, usually from the hospital to the county, in this case to LA County Medical, the Medical Examiner's office. You have a number of LAPD motorcycle officers and LAPD air unit all involved in this procession. We're so used to covering pursuits in LA, this is not one of them. This is a somber occasion that LAPD is doing now to remember one of their own who passed away this morning. A little more about Sergeant Dang. He was a 17-year, he served 17 years on the Medical Evaluation Unit of LAPD. We heard from Chief McDonald saying that Sergeant Dang was a true leader. He died a hero. As we said, Sergeant Dang had pulled over to see if he could render aid to an accident that he came across on the freeway when he was then struck. We did get a statement from Mayor Bass as well. The mayor has stated that flags will be lowered to half-staff today in honor of Sergeant Dang. The 405 freeway is still closed right now, 405 south from about Getty Center, because that accident investigation is still underway. CHP is trying to make sure they put together exactly what happened, because it did involve 2 deaths, and they're going to make sure they have all of that figured out and make sure the scene is fully cleared before they open up those lanes. So this is affecting everybody in the San Fernando Valley pretty much if you use the 405. And it's been that way from about 3 a.m. this morning. The northbound lanes of the 405 were also closed this morning for a short time because emergency crews actually landed a helicopter at the scene to see if the helicopter could maybe transport one of the injured individuals. We do not believe the helicopter ended up transporting, but it created quite a scene this morning. If you were on the north or southbound 405 at that early hour and were wondering what is going on, that was the case. So you have the 405 south still closed at this hour, and now the 10 freeway going east, you have rolling closures going on. CHP blocking traffic on the on-ramps as this procession goes past Crenshaw Boulevard. And CHP doing that so that the procession can pass by without any issue. You see there members from LA City Fire standing at attention. To honor a fellow first responder. And we see this anytime a police officer dies or a firefighter dies. This is usually the case, although this is one of the longer processions that I've seen. I see at least 20 black and whites. We know that at least 60 vehicles total and 1 helicopter are involved in this procession, coming from UCLA Medical Center in West LA, headed towards the LA County Medical Examiner's office just outside of downtown. We're about halfway there at this point. The procession's been going on for about 30 or so minutes. But if you or someone you know is going to use the 405 or the 10, they may encounter some delays. Procession now passing Arlington Avenue. We're seeing a little bit of backup on the 10 freeway eastbound because of the closure now for the procession. About from the 405 to about La Brea. The entirety of the procession should be just about finished coming past La Brea now, as the head of the procession gets closer to the downtown area. Now more in the Jefferson Park area. I do want to let everybody know watching all of our streaming platforms that we're going to keep following this procession until it gets to the medical examiner's office just outside of downtown. But ABC News is also monitoring national and international developments, and we are hearing word of a possible ABC News special report that may come on at any moment now. So if the picture cuts away from this coverage, that is why, but rest assured we are going to still follow the procession and bring you the very latest at Eyewitness News at 11 a.m. The procession is passing Normandy now, and we're a little more than halfway there, coming from UCLA Medical Center, once again towards downtown. Something interesting happened earlier in this procession. I apologize for that. You know, we're in LA, we cover a lot of pursuits, so that's a hard habit to break. But I will say something interesting happened in this procession earlier, where it started heading west from UCLA Medical Center, and we're wondering, why isn't it going east towards downtown? We were told this was going towards the medical examiner's office. And what they were doing is they were making an additional stop, pretty much, passing the West LA station where Sergeant Strodang served many, many years. When the procession passed the LAPD West LA office, you could see fellow officers standing at attention outside, and it was a very somber moment, obviously, for any of those officers who worked with Sergeant Dang for as many years as they have. I'll read a little bit of a statement from Chief Jim McDonald from the Los Angeles Police Department, a little bit about Sergeant Dang. Chief McDonald said he was a deeply respected leader within our department and a trusted protector of our communities. His loss is immeasurable, and the grief we feel is shared not only by the men and women of LAPD, but by the entire law enforcement family and the residents he served so faithfully. Our deepest condolences go out to Sergeant Dang's loved ones, his family, friends, and colleagues during this incredible and difficult time. We're doing everything in our power to support them, and we ask the public to hold them in your thoughts and prayers. As we mourn, we also honor Sergeant Dang's extraordinary legacy, a legacy defined by integrity, bravery, and an unwavering commitment to public service. His memory will forever live on the hearts of those who knew him, served with him, and were protected by him. Details regarding memorial services and opportunities for the public to pay their respects will be shared in the coming days. We are grateful for your continued support and respectfully ask for privacy for Sergeant Dang's family as they navigate this painful loss. End quote. That's once again from Chief Jim McDonald of the Los Angeles Police Department. Fuel, have about, what, 10, 15? We've got about 15, I'll say. Do you know, Chad? Yeah. Okay, copy that. No, it's good. Those of you watching on our various ABC7 streaming platforms, I apologize for the side chatter there. We're just working on a couple logistical things with our assignment desk at ABC7 and our pilot, Kyle here, working out fuel considerations. As we follow this procession from the west side to the county medical examiner's office. Once again, I'm Gabe Santos in Air 7 with pilot Kyle and photographer Chad. Over the procession for Sergeant Sho Dang, who died this morning in an accident on the 405 freeway. The accident killed 2 individuals. Sergeant Dang was one of them, a 26-year veteran of LAPD, serving in the West LA division most recently. Another individual in their 30s also passed away in this accident. Also, a number of other injuries were reported as well. The 405 South is still closed at this hour while the accident investigation continues. And now the 10 freeway is being affected because CHP is closing on-ramps to the eastbound 10 while this procession passes. The procession is about 60 vehicles long. You see all those LAPD motorcycle units ahead of the medical examiner's van, which carries the body of Sergeant Dang. The family of the fallen is in the vehicles just behind the medical examiner's van, and a number of LAPD black and whites. We had a report that Mayor Bass was also in this procession as well. Mayor Bass stated earlier that all flags at city buildings will be lowered to half-staff in honor of Sergeant Dang. A couple miles remain in this procession. We're getting close to the medical examiner's office, just outside of the downtown area. Currently on the eastbound 10, passing San Pedro Street, and now passing Central Avenue. I'm looking a little further to the west outside the helicopter window here, and I could see CHP is opening lanes on the 10 freeway all the way up to the 110. So where traffic had been cleared earlier, it is now flowing. And now you just have closures in place just south of downtown, once again on the lanes of the eastbound 10. The procession approaching the East LA interchange now. Looks like CHP, they are providing traffic control for all of the LAPD vehicles. It looks like this will continue as the 10 freeway kind of bends to the north. If you're on the 101 or the 5, you should be unaffected by this, despite the normal slowing through the area. Or if you know anybody on on those freeways. Looking a little bit further down on the East LA interchange, it looks like CHP actually does have the 5 North stopped right now. They're going to let this Procession pass. Once again, this is this part of the interchange where the 10 and the 5 kind of combine into one, just for a short period. So you do have lanes of the 5 North stopped. So that will that'll impact things on the 5 North for a few minutes here as this Procession passes by. You see there firefighters from LA City Fire Station 3 standing at attention as the procession goes by. Copy. Summit desk, we have about 5 minutes with us. Copy. We do want to let everybody know watching that we do have another helicopter en route to take this procession to completion if we are not able to stay with it due to our own fuel considerations. We up in Air 7 can only stay up for about 2 hours. That's a question we get asked a lot. We were over at UCLA Medical Center waiting for this procession to start, and it's been going on for about 40 minutes now. Is that closer? Let's plan on El Monte. This Summit desk, we're gonna hopefully buy a few more minutes here to wait for the other helicopter, and we'll land at El Monte instead for fuel. Okay. Okay. The Procession is now on surface streets, cleared of the freeways. It looks like CHP is removing all stops on the 10 and the 5. Once again, those 405 lanes on the 405 south through the Sepulveda Pass from the San Fernando Valley, those still remain closed right now for the accident investigation. That accident claimed 2 lives, including Sergeant Shodang, who we see here is being transported in the medical examiner's van to the county medical examiner's office. As always is the case with things we cover from the air, we do have fuel considerations for us up here in the helicopter. So we are going to start wrapping up our coverage here from Air 7. We will have the very latest on Eyewitness News at 11 a.m. We'll bring you details on the crash investigation, the CHP closure on the 405 South, and the rest of the day's news. For now, I'm Gabe Santos in Air 7 with pilot Kyle and photographer Chad. Signing off for now. We'll hold these pictures for just another couple of minutes or so, and then we'll go refuel. We'll see you at 11 a.m. Go. It'll be close. Yeah, it'll be close.